Lewis Hamilton believes he could have won the Hungarian Grand Prix without qualifying issues, but he still praised Mercedes after finishing second on merit and insists they are closing the gap on their rivals. Hamilton started 7th on Sunday after a DRS issue ruined his final qualifying lap, with teammate George Russell taking pole. Despite this, the 7-time champion finished second behind Max Verstappen, who also made a brilliant comeback from 10th, and he believes he had the pace to win for the first time this season. If we had got our lap yesterday, we would have been in the front row and it perhaps would have been a different result, Hamilton told Sky Sports F1 on Sunday. If the DRS was okay, we would have been in the run for the win. Hamilton now has 3 consecutive second-place finishes and 5 consecutive podiums, indicating Mercedes' progress after an unusually slow start to the season. We found something and we've been able to get a little bit closer and been able to compete with the Ferraris. I honestly think in a straight-out race, we might not be that far behind Max. So I'm really excited about the second half of the season and proud of my team for not giving up. He added, I really want to acknowledge my team who have pushed and never given up in this tough year so far. To be on the podium for both cars, to be on the podium twice, it's pretty special for us and really unlucky for George today. The other guys still have a bit of an edge, but we clearly are closing the gap, and this is just an amazing way to go into the break knowing that we have this performance. Hopefully we can bring some more into the second part of the season and start fighting with the guys up front. Toto Wolff hailed Hamilton's drive as unbelievable. As the Mercedes boss said, he was a little bit in the shadows, nobody really looked at where he came from, and then suddenly he was putting in times quicker than the leaders. I think Lewis in Budapest, that is a success story, and I think we lost the race from him yesterday. Russell meanwhile dropped from pole to 3rd on Sunday as Mercedes lost out reacting to their rivals' pit stops, but he was still pleased with his performance. I think we did everything right for all the right reasons. When I was sat on the grid and rain was on the way and I was on the soft and everyone was on the mediums, I was rubbing my hands together. Unfortunately, after about 4 laps, we'd built a nice little lead. The rain stopped and the tyre wasn't the best tyre to be on. We boxed quite early on both stints, reacting to Max and reacting to the Ferraris, and then at the end, unfortunately, it compromised us substantially when the rain came back again and we were on the really old medium tyres trying to fend off Lewis on the new soft tyres. That's racing, you can't preempt every single time. We did everything right as a team. Nevertheless, pole position P3, a lot to be proud about. Russell, however, believes that Verstappen and Red Bull are cruising considering they lead both championships by frankly huge margins. But there's no doubt we're making progress, he added. We were almost a minute behind the race win at the start of the season, and it's been 10 seconds in the last couple of races. If we can continue on that path, we will definitely be in the hunt. The German automaker appears to have turned the corner on its early season woes with a second double podium finish at the Hungarian Grand Prix. And with Ferrari having another disastrous afternoon, as title contender Charles Leclerc finished 6th and Carlos Sainz finished 4th, Mercedes has closed the Constructors' Championship gap to 30 points. In fact, Mercedes now has a good chance of passing Ferrari and finishing second to Red Bull this season based on its current trajectory, but Toto Wolff says such a feat is not of great interest. Instead, he says that the ability for Mercedes to take another performance step and start delivering race wins on pure pace is far more important to him. Second, first loser. I think that for me personally, whether second or third in the Constructors' World Championship is not so relevant compared to really racing and being at the front and developing the car so we can win races on merit. Beat the Ferraris, beat the Red Bull and prepare for the next year rather than really care about the championship position. Hamilton's second place finish at the Hungaroring means he has now finished on the podium more times than early championship favourite Leclerc, demonstrating Mercedes' progress. But once again, Wolff insists that his team does not want to be among the front runners, it wants to be the first. I would have rather had more wins and less podiums. We are humbled, but we are striving for race victories rather than second and third. But if they are on merit like today, then it's a good step forward. Wolff believes that, aside from the Hungary results, the amount of understanding gained from its up and down weekend will be extremely beneficial in propelling it forward in the second half of the campaign. I think it was a difficult weekend overall, because the suffering of Friday was just big when we didn't really know which direction to look at. Maybe getting it so wrong on Friday was helpful in getting it very right, almost completely right on Sunday. I think we have a lot of data to look at, a lot of positiveness from the last weekend in France, and here and that we can build on for the second half of the season. The FIA's push to change the 2023 technical regulations and raise floor edges by 25mm to help eliminate car bouncing has angered the majority of teams, who fear it will force an unnecessary and costly redesign of their new car plans. Over the past 2 weekends, FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem has canvassed the opinions of all the teams and drivers in an attempt to gain a better understanding of the situation and determine exactly what measures should be implemented in the end. While some teams would prefer a 10mm rise in the floor, there is no guarantee that bin Sulayem will agree to a compromise solution, and there has been talk of a potential legal challenge if the FIA sticks to its original plan. Mercedes, on the other hand, welcomes the FIA's stance on the matter, and team boss Wolff stated that a medical report he was shown in a meeting with bin Sulayem at the Hungaroring on Saturday was all the evidence he needed to ensure that the approach would not be watered down. There's all this talk of lobbying in either direction, but I think fundamentally, what are we talking about? The FIA has commissioned medical work on the porpoising. The summary of the doctors is that frequency of 1 to 2 Hz sustained over a few minutes can lead to brain damage. We have 6 to 7 Hz over several hours. So the answer is very easy. The FIA needs to do something about it. Despite the FIA medical report as evidence, not all the teams are convinced that there is a genuine safety concern for next year. Ferrari believes that the plans that will be implemented at the Belgian Grand Prix, in which teams will be required to adhere to an aerodynamic oscillation metric, which will be sufficient to eliminate the worst of porpoising. Racing director Laurent Mekies meanwhile stated, "I think we need to be very careful when we speak about safety grounds. I think we were all in the press conference room last time we discussed it, and that was for the halo, these sort of things. There are a few important topics to be discussing in the future, roll hoops or something else. So I think you need to separate that from the discussions that we're having with teams, with the FIA on how to make situations better for the porpoising, and in that context, the TD for Spa is doing a good job." While porpoising has not been an issue in the recent races, Wolff believes it is incorrect to believe the problem has completely been eliminated. "I still fundamentally believe that there is no choice for the FIA and for us to do something. I don't want to have it in Spa or at some of the later races where the track is not as smooth as on conventional racetracks, and we haven't done anything and people say, well, now it's too late. The argument is we haven't had any porpoising and bouncing in the last few races, but it doesn't count because Silverstone, Paul Ricard and Austria aren't exactly tracks that we bounce at anyway." Thank you for your time. Be sure to like, subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified of future uploads. And let us know what you think down in the comments.